It's all right. Y'all making a quick getaway? You are here, and I appreciate it. Everyone's looking back. Is there anything? That was always Don's joke back in the early days. He said people would call and ask what time church starts. He would say, "What time can you get here?" All right, it's a beautiful day in June of 2019. Can you believe this year's half over? We're nearly 20 years into the new millennium. About to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Metron. I mean, it's crazy. But we are here today, so let's carpe this diem, and happy Father's Day, and for all the layers of emotion that goes with that. Father's Day and Mother's Day are always interesting. I won't say difficult, but interesting days to minister on because people feel a lot of things, and I'm right there with you. This is a very different Father's Day for me as well. I was just telling them I just got off the phone for Jared's in Poland. They just did a tour in Croatia and Serbia and all of those. He called it the Iron Curtain. He said we're behind the Iron Curtain. I thought, what decade are we in? But I guess they still refer to it as that. I don't know. But anyway, that was cool, and I'll see Jonah somewhere on the road, and I'll see the other two who are here this evening. So, but I'm glad that you're here, and thank you for all the texts and messages this morning. I appreciate it, especially from people who I know who it is. I always get lots of them from people I have no idea who they are. I'm like, thank you, anonymous person who thinks you're in my phone. Glad I've been a father to you. I have no idea who you are. We're in agreement for a beautiful day. Let's go ahead and start this for the YouTube audience, please.
Hello, and welcome to Metron. Metron means measure and sphere of influence, and we want to help you find your Metron. Through motivation, enlightenment, transcendence, renewal, outreach, and networking. We're excited to have you here today, and hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning. Welcome to Metron. Welcome all of you in the YouTube audience. Metron people, give the YouTube people welcome, and welcome to all of our streamers. It's a beautiful day. Happy Father's Day. And I know a lot of people are celebrating that in their different ways today, but you chose to be here, and I appreciate it. I have thoroughly enjoyed our artist this month. Kian Martin, I love him. I love his voice, love his talent, love his hair, love that he knows Stevie Wonder, love his spirit and his vibe, and it's a pleasure, and I'm sure the same is true for you as well. So without any further ado, would you please welcome our artist of the month for June, Mr. Kian Martin. Kian. Approach. Embrace.
How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Father's Day to every father and pastor and my dad. Hey, Dad, maybe if he's looking on YouTube, which he probably isn't because he's pastoring as well, so he's having service. So when I was thinking about sharing today, I wanted to get things started with the theme of love. So there's this awesome song that just talks about how love should last a lifetime. And it's written by one of my favorite artists, Mr. Justin Timberlake. Any Justin Timberlake fans? Yeah. Yeah, JT. Said I woke up this morning, heard the TV saying something about disaster and the world end. Make me wonder where I'm going. So much darkness in the world, but I find beauty in you, girl. And what you give me lets me know that will be alright. 'Cause if your love was all I have in this life, said that would be enough till the end of time. Just rest your weary heart and relax your mind, for I'm gonna love you, girl, to the end of time. And this part is my favorite part of the song because it's real simple, and all of you beautiful people can help me sing it. Just say, will y'all sing it out? Say, yeah. And my lower voice friends, I didn't leave you out. Yours is, yeah. Can y'all sing it right there? Y'all sing. I'll sing it one more time. Say, yeah. Y'all sing it loud, say. Oh, I hear you. We're creeping up there. And so any altos, I have a part for you too, altos. And we kind of have like a mini praise team rehearsal, choir rehearsal. So for my middle voice people, I want you to sing. Here we go. Let's sing. Yeah. One last time. Yeah. Because if your love was all I have in this life, said that would be enough till just rest your weary heart, relax your mind, for I'm gonna love you till the end of time. No matter how far apart we are today, we just wanna think about love. And we dedicate the theme of love on this Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers all over the world. Thank you. So this next song that I'm gonna share is an original song. Can you make some noise for original music? Yeah. And I always have to tell the story about this song. If you can kind of see up here on the front, it's a suitcase up here. And the story behind this suitcase, if you're like, what is this guy doing with the suitcase? So this song is about living your dreams. Anybody have big dreams out there? Anybody have big dreams out there? Oh, okay. So ever since I was probably about 2 or 3 years old, my grandma and mom always go back and forth. Oh, he started singing when he was 2. No, he was actually 3.5. No, he was 2. And I'm just like, okay, well, y'all just were torturing me because I had to sing that young as a kid. But from a little boy, I always remember love, family, and I remember music. And I always had a vision that one day I was going to travel around the world and sing, and the music would touch people, it would heal people, it would inspire people. And fast forwarding, I remember my transition to Atlanta, Georgia. I was applying to schools all back home in North Carolina where I'm from. And I was like, no, there's more. Like, I feel like God is calling me to more. And so fast forwarding, I got accepted to Morehouse, and I got this really cool Michael Jackson scholarship. And I was like, wow, like Michael Jackson pays for people to go to school? That's pretty awesome. And it was in my heart to, in my very best way possible, not just to do well academically, but to keep that dream alive of becoming that artist and living my dreams. And so there was a song, Suitcase, in it just came alive, talking about how I have places to be, things to see. Let's hit the road, it's time to go. What are we waiting for? We can be living out our suitcase. And have any of you found that you've relocated from all of your family, you moved to Atlanta? Any transplants, as I hear they call them, transplants, people that move to Atlanta? Yeah. And so we find a lot of times in life will take you on a journey, right? And there's a low moments, there are high moments, there are successes, but I wanted to package all that up into a song titled Suitcase, reminding people that life is a journey. It's not just a destination, and as long as we avail ourselves to life, we can be living out our suitcase and living our dreams, impacting our families, our communities, our friends, our loved ones. And so, can I share this song with y'all? All right, y'all gotta help me a little bit. Can you snap your fingers like this? Can you just snap like this? Snap, yeah. You got it. Here we go. I've got places to be, things to see. Let's hit the road, it's time to go. What we're waiting for, I'ma be living out to my suitcase. City to city, state to state, country to country, dispelling the hate. If that's what it takes, I'm living out to my suitcase. I'm tired of living this way, that's why I'm packing my suitcase. I'm only taking what I need. The world is waiting for me. I won't sit home any longer when there's a child dying of hunger, and I should be making a difference. You know I'm telling the truth. Wasted potential is the death of many, yet there's plenty of dead men who live because their works live on, though they've been long gone. Yes, I know you and me both can be like them. Snap, say I've got places to be, things to see. Let's hit the road, it's time to go. What we waiting for, I'ma be living out to my suitcase. City to city, state to state, country to country, dispelling the hate. If that's what it takes, I don't mind living out to my suitcase. Living out to my suitcase. See, I'm gonna make a difference, not gonna walk in ignorance. I'ma leave an imprint, I'ma change the world. See, they gonna know I'm here, the world is gonna be my stage. And when I'm long gone, they gonna read about me, they gonna talk about me. I'm gonna leave a legacy, yeah, a legacy. See, you and me, we gonna make history. Now wasted potential is the death of many, yet there's plenty of dead men who live because their works live on, though they've been long gone. Yes, I know you and me both can be like them. Snap, say I've got places to be, things to see. Let's hit the road, it's time to go. What we're waiting for, I'ma be living out to my suitcase. City to city, state to state, country to country, dispelling the hate. If that's what it takes, we gon' be living out of our suitcase. So I want you to get your dream on your mind. One of my favorite parts of the song is to recite this, and I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about your dream. And I want you to be reminded that we gotta change the world for every boy and every girl. And sometimes we just need to lend a hand. Let's change the world for every boy and girl. Let's lend a hand. Let's take a stand. When facing fears, they're gonna disappear. They're gonna disappear. See, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate, but our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And it's truly our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. But I want you to be reminded that we can change the world. Do you believe that you can change the world? Do you believe that you can change the world? See, I've got places to be, things to see. Let's hit the road, it's time to go. What we waiting for? I'ma be living out to my suitcase. City to city, state to state, country to country, dispelling the hate. If that's what it takes, I don't mind living out to my suitcase. And really sweet, can y'all just chant this with me? Living out to my suitcase. Whatever voice part you want to sing, I want you to say, living out to my suitcase. If you believe in your dreams like me, say, yeah, sing it again. If you believe in your dreams like me, say, yeah. We gon' change the world, y'all, sing, say. We can change the world. Living out our suitcase. Y'all like that? So that song, Suitcase, after service, we'll be sharing some copies of it, and I would love for you to add it to your repertoire of music. And so this last song, I was thinking about an amazing medley that I wanted to share, and I was thinking of all of these artists that they did just that. They lived out their suitcase, and so I want to share some 70s tunes. Any people familiar with the 70s? Y'all probably like, what does this kid know about the 70s? Why do birds suddenly appear every time that you're near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. From the day that you were born, the angels got together and created a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair, and your eyes they made blue. And that is why I never can say goodbye. No, no, I never can say bye. Even though the pain and heartache seem to follow me wherever I go, and I try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. When you try to say you'd leave it me, I always have to say no. Tell me why. Is it so? Don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye, girl. Oh, oh, never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. We're all singing. I never can say goodbye, girl. Oh, baby, yeah. Never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. 'Cause when I look at you, and the world's alright with me. Y'all know this song? Just one look at you and you and you and you and you and you and you, I I know today's gonna be a lovely day. Come on, snap your fingers. Will y'all sing this song with me? A lovely day. Hey, so I want to teach y'all a prayer. Y'all should know this song. I want you to sing. Say, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Say, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Say, love. Say lovely day. A lovely day. A lovely day. It's gonna be, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how rough it gets, no matter how hard it gets, please remember it's gonna be a lovely day. And sometimes we wanna go where everybody knows our name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see people are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows you. Will y'all sing it with me? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. Yeah, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see the people are all the same. One more time. Said you wanna be where you can see. One more time. People are all the. You can be a little bit louder. Sing it one last time. Yeah. The people are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows you. Say your name.
Yeah, Kian Martin.
Thank you, Metron, so much. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Theme from Cheers was the 80s, though. I'm just going to have to tell you. You better get your set straight. Kian had a previous engagement for next week, so he'll be gone next week, but he'll be back with us. June actually has 5 Sundays, so he'll be back with us 2 weeks from today. So appreciate Jordan, his manager, being with us also. And they, as he said, they have product available, so please make sure that you pick up something. I know that you will enjoy it. And thank you very much. So glad to see you. We sat on the beach, and she kept telling me, I know you know my mom, and she was trying to describe me, and she showed the picture. I said, oh, that's your mom, Lord have mercy. Of course I know her. Well, I'm glad you're here. Welcome, 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 everybody. Everybody. Good to see you. Yeah, high vibrations. Beautiful day. Again, happy Father's Day to everybody. And let's see, what our outreach this month is the Angel Eyes, and I believe the woman who's in charge of that is going to be here before the month's over, and we'll tell you more of what they do. But our connection with them was Jeff and Marty, who are part of Metron. They're involved with this outreach, so I know it's a valid one. And main thing I want to announce, it looks like most of y'all have already got your rooms. Y'all don't play. this last time I posted something to people. I got my room. I'm like, good Lord, I just now said we're going to Jekyll Island. How'd you get the room so quick? Y'all were just waiting, like, where is it? Jekyll or Tybee? Jekyll or Tybee? Jekyll, I got it. Like, wow, y'all are ready to get up out of here. It's August the 3rd and 4th. It'll be the Metron's 5th anniversary celebration. We're returning to Jekyll Island. This time we're going to do the sunset meditation on Driftwood Beach, which is really just an amazing place. I've been all over the world. I've never seen any place quite like Driftwood Beach. I don't even know why everything washes up there the way that it does, but just the way the tides are. Of course, I love St. Simon's, but there definitely something mystical about Jekyll. There's an unusual energy on that island, and the first time we went there, just extraordinary things happened. We thought it was just a miracle for us when the waters parted. Apparently, it does that time of year. But literally, we were out there walking, and it was like they're parting the Red Sea. It was like, okay, am I imagining this is happening? So we'll do the sunset meditation on the 3rd, and we'll do the sunrise. We'll go back to the more public beach for the sunrise. But I think where Avery's staying, I think there's a lot of the hotels even have a shuttle to Driftwood. So if you want to do that, it's a small island. Nothing's that remote. This will just require a little more effort to get to, but I think it's going to be worth it. The way the wood washes up on the beach there makes these really otherworldly sculptures, and they're all over the place. It's really, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel like death there. It's beautiful. To me, what it says is that the trees still have something to offer, even though they're not flourishing as living trees anymore. It's just beautiful. So I'm expecting. I'm actually expecting this to be the best one we've ever done. So make it if you can. And there's plenty of. I know some of you were concerned about maybe the if prices, but if you can't, I don't notice that there's anything that different. I mean, it looks like it's about the same to me, but there's plenty of places to stay. It's all, if you don't want to spend that much money, you can stay in Brunswick. There's lots of, you can go high dollar, you can go affordable. There's everything around there. So just don't call me and ask where you should stay, because I don't do that. The thing that I've loved about these, and this will be our 7th one, is it's very self-contained. I did years of retreats and renting out blocks of rooms and having to deal with, who's going to cancel. It's a nightmare. This way, you're on your own. You find your own place. You go. It works with you. Some people come down on Friday nights and stay the whole weekend. Some people drive down for that day. That's what I love, is just the flexibility of it. And really, in theory, Jekyll's close enough that you could drive down there in one day. I mean, it'd be a lot of time in the car, but it could be done. So that's what I like about staying in these Golden Isles, because they're just close enough that you can make a day trip. If you go all the way to Florida, that's more of an overnighter. So anyway, it'll be awesome. And if you don't go, just remember, don't come here on the 4th. But I hope you can all come, because it's hard to believe it's our 5th anniversary. I mean, I told Avery, we were talking about it, I said, I nearly feel like time has stood still since I started Metron. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I just can't believe we've been doing this for 5 years. And I didn't really have a plan when I started. I'm like, well, let's just see if anybody shows up. And as of this morning, I was still saying, it's 5 years later, is anybody show up? Some of y'all had me worried for a minute. When I first came in, there was nobody here. I said, well, it's finally happened. Nobody's here. I heard a voice from the back. Michelle said, we're here. Does that matter? I said, I just can't see y'all behind the lights. But yes, of course it matters. And glad that you're all here. I don't know that we had anything to post for the year of living your best life. I don't think I put. Oh yeah, that was mine. That was my veggie plate. So y'all don't forget to when you do something that's good for your head, good for your spirit, good for your body, just share it with us. It's real easy to do the hashtag. It's Year of Living Your Best Life 19. And that way we're able to share it and be involved in you living your best life. I believe that was everything that I had to announce. Actually, believe it or not, you can turn that fan off. Believe it. I know you can't believe I'm actually going to say this. So, are you all ready for the word? Good. I like that. See, Chandra was ready. Chandra got right in there with the applause. I like that. We ready for the podcastians? Welcome to the Metron Live podcast, coming to you live from beautiful, historic Midtown Atlanta. Metron people, give the Metron Live people a big hand. We welcome you. Thank you, as always, to Charles McFall, the rock god of podcasting, who makes this possible every week. I never take it for granted. And those of you who do listen to the podcast, thank you for sharing. As you see, and when I get a good report from somebody, I will take a screenshot of it, make a picture out of it, and share it because it's encouraging to me. I like to know. I don't need compliments. My self-esteem doesn't need compliments. I like feedback of how something helped you, what it meant to you. That's what really motivates me and energizes me. And sometimes when I think, I don't know, is anybody listening to this at all? I'll get some amazing message that says, "Oh my God, what you ministered on was exactly what I needed to hear." And all these years later, many years after the initial prophecy was given to me, I still get accused of bugging people. People keep saying, "I'm telling you, you must have you've either put a microchip in my head or you've hacked my emails. Like, how did you know?" And I'm just like, "It's just the Holy Ghost. I don't know what to tell you." And I don't mind counseling. I do a good bit of it, but I can tell you this: there's two ways to communicate. You can counsel, and I can life coach you. Dr. Martin's a life coach, and I certainly believe in the validity of that. There's also a dynamic that happens when I don't know firsthand what's going on with you, and I say something prophetic. Then I've shared this with you before, but I used to say this years ago, and this woman said, I never liked when you said that because I felt like you weren't making time for us. Like you didn't, that was your way of saying, I don't want to spend one-on-one time. So I put you to the test, and I wrote down 8 things that I wanted you to say or talk about. And she said, "So help me God, you went down the line. Not only all 8 of them, they were actually in sequence." She said, I was like freaking out as I blocked them off. That doesn't happen for everybody. If it happens for you, that means whether you call it pastor or mentor or guru, I answer to it all. Frances calls me her guru. I like that. I have Jewish friends that call me their rabbi. I answer to it all. I don't think I've been called an imam. I'm still waiting on that one. But I have enjoyed talking about signs and wonders, and I enjoy it because I'm seeing it manifest. I just before I walked in here, Jared, my oldest son, his band is in tour right now. They just did Croatia and Serbia and Herzegovina and all that area. But he called me about half an hour ago from Krakow, Poland, and I said, "This is amazing. I'm talking to you, and there's no pausing in between our words." There was I remember when I was a kid and my dad would do foreign travel, you would have to plan for it. Like an operator would call you in the day and they'd say, "You're going to get a call at 7 o'clock tonight," and you'd have to wait for it. And you would say something and you have to wait several seconds for them to hear it and then answer. And it sounded like they were in an echo chamber and it cost a fortune and you just had to say your stuff quick and get off. Now, we were just talking. He was asking me about how Dad was doing, and the whole way from home here, I talked to him. And he said, I said, "It's amazing." I said, "I'm talking about miracles this month," but I said, the fact that I'm talking to you from Poland and it sounds like you're around the corner. There's no delay. How is that possible that I can say something and you're hearing it on the other side of the planet? I said, technology has made the miraculous so possible for us that we're living in it and don't even notice it. And I told him, I've taught this many times, but I always would notice in the scriptures where there would be a specific phrase that would be in someone's writing. I think, why did they put that phrase in there? And at the end of the book of Revelation, when John has this vision of a new heaven and new earth, he said, I saw a new earth and there was no sea. There was no more sea. And I used to think, why did he say that? And what it says to me is, in the ancient world, whatever was on the other side of the ocean was non-existent. There's no way. You couldn't communicate with them. You didn't know they existed. That's why people thought the earth was flat. Now, I mean, the ocean still exists, obviously, but it's not a barrier anymore. Now, I mean, you can tweet people and text them on the other side of the planet, and they get it. Literally, as you're writing the words, they can read them. That's just amazing. And we've lived in it so long now, we're just used to amazing things happening. We didn't purchase it, but yesterday we just were chilling out. We weren't killing time. We were just taking our time, going different places yesterday. And Ken wanted to look at these kind of chargers, phone chargers now that you can just lay your phone on. You don't have to plug it in. And we were going to, we looked at it and I thought, well, if you want to get it, I'll go in half with you or whatever. We ended up not getting it, but I thought, it's amazing because you were saying that there's even smartphones now that you can lay your phone on somebody else's phone and it will charge it. That's amazing. And we've gotten so used to now the latest thing that comes out, we're like, oh, that's cool. Time travel, yeah, okay, cool. So what I love is when the supernatural is taking place along with technology. I remember the first time I saw this happening is when we were still in Conyers. We were in the first building, and we were on TV, and I gave a word of knowledge for somebody's healing. And before the service was over, someone, I want to say Switzerland, it was somewhere North Europe, saw the program because we were live streaming, heard the word of knowledge, received the healing, and sent an email back to say, I want to thank Bishop Swilley because I just got healed. I thought I can't get my head around that. Not just the supernatural part of the gifts of the Spirit, but that somebody's watching this as I'm saying it on the other side of the world, and they can email me back. You remember there was a time, I don't know if you've ever heard this, people actually used to write letters. You remember like back during the Civil War, Revolutionary War, like you would write a letter and you wouldn't know, it would take months or years to get the letter back, and then you would, and now, do people even know how to write letters anymore? Like, I don't even know. It's crazy. Now it's a lot of LOL and smiley face. I do it too. But anyway, I believe it's possible to live in the now and enjoy the technology, but also recognize there's some things technology can't do, and that's where you still have to tap into that supernatural side. The one scripture I want to show you is, go back, Michelle. Our title is Signs and Wonders Lifestyle, Developing the Supernatural and Creating the Miraculous. This is part 3. And the scripture is Matthew 19:26 in the New King James Version. It says, but Jesus looked at them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. I want to say a shout out to all the Bible thumpers that feel like they have to make sure you know God. Like sometimes when I say all things are possible, inevitably there'll be somebody I'm Facebook friends with that'll say, with God all things are possible. I'm like, oh, okay, relax. I'm good with God. I've been working for Jesus a long time. Somebody's got to make sure that you Jesus it up enough. I'm like, y'all just tickle me. To me, God is so obvious, such a foregone conclusion, that the implication is always there. God is always with me. God is always in me. God is always flowing through me. God is as me. That was the whole point, is let us create people in our image and let them have dominion. Of course, people have taken this too far and they've had an imbalanced message with it. But the fact is, we were meant to be God in the earth. That was the whole point of Jesus coming. It wasn't to change God's idea of man. It was to change man's idea of God. And to realize that, for Jesus to say, it's necessary that I go away. I don't want you to start Christianity and start worshiping me. I want to show you how to manifest God in the earth. And now I'm going to leave and I'm going to send you. I'll be here as the Holy Spirit, but I'm going to show you how you can do this. This is why I think it's important. My title is Creating the Miraculous, not waiting on God to create the miraculous. There's a lot of people who are living in this fantasy world that's not even supported by the Scriptures. It's this idea, and some of it's generational, but some of us had those kind of parents that would tell us, if I don't say anything, it means you're doing good, and I'll tell you when you're doing bad. And that was the whole idea, like don't give anybody the swelled head, and And thank God we're in a generation now where people have learned to talk to their children and to say, wow, you can do anything and believe for the best. And, there was a time, there was a generation that said, don't do that. You'll teach them to believe that anything's possible. Well, guess what? Anything is possible. And every change that happens, there was a time, you might not call this miraculous, but there was a time in this country that an African American couldn't say to their son, you can be president one day, because that just seemed impossible. Well, now, for whatever you thought about Barack Obama, the fact is, that is possible now. So now you change the vernacular. You say, well, I can't say to my daughter, you can be president. Well, someday you'll be able to say that. Someday there'll be a woman in the White House, and you'll say, you can say to your daughter, you can be president one day. You can say it now, but there will come a time where you can say it with conviction. Like, this is within the realm of possibility. And there's always somebody coming along. Remember back in the day, back in the 50s, when the first man broke the 4-minute mile? Like they didn't think a human being could run that fast. And now, there's athletes, high school athletes are breaking records from the Olympics in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It happens all the time. So we're constantly pushing the envelope, and I don't even think we realize, those of us who are sort of on the cutting edge of theology, realize how much it's all happening at the same time. There are things that are becoming more obviously negative, but it's good that they're being exposed so that the better world can come. Do you understand? It's not being negative. It's saying, well, some things you need to put a spotlight on, because, believe it or not, the world is better than it was many, many years ago. It just is. I am just at the age now where I sort of missed this. I remember being vaccinated for it. But, there was a time polio was like a huge issue in this country, and it was airborne, and, the president had it, and now that seems like another world ago. But that was a time, you were afraid of it. Well, honestly, I remember when the first evidences of AIDS came about, like around 81, 82, 83. There were people who were predicting that most of the population would be gone by the year 2000. There won't even be anybody here. Well, now, believe it or not, my Lord, Magic Johnson was diagnosed in 1987. He's still alive. That would have seemed impossible. So there's constantly breakthroughs that are taking place. Well, is that because of God? Of course that is. Every time someone does something that was seemingly impossible, that's the spark of the divine. Where do you think you got that from? The fact that you do something that you didn't think you could do means that, yes, of course, when Jesus said, I'm divine, you're the branch, apart from me, you can do nothing. Of course, we all know that. I don't have to go around constantly saying, it's not me, it's God. To me, that nearly sounds arrogant to have to keep telling you, it's not me. Guess what? It is me. God enabled, God put that in me. That's what God wanted to happen with my life. That's what He wanted to happen in your life. And so when we talk about the miraculous, it is us creating it. I was joking about it earlier, but there really is a truth to this. I keep telling you about this Mexican restaurant that we love on Ponce. And there's never enough. This is generally true in Midtown, but there's never enough parking spaces any place you go. A lot of these older places that were built before everybody drove everywhere. And like to get a parking spot at La Fonda is like seeing Bigfoot. You know, it's like we've heard tell there was an Elvis sighting and somebody in the 90s found a parking place at La Fonda. So every time we go, we have to speak it. So when we find one, you think I'm joking, but it's like it really is a miracle when we go. So yesterday, I had several things. I had to work on my outline and write my meditation and pay my estimated taxes. And it was just, it was a lot of things. So when it was over, I said, well, let's go get lunch. Where do you want to go? And he said, I want to go to La Fonda. And he said, and I just say we're going to have a parking space. I said, okay, usually Big Daddy handles that, but I'm going to let you have that one. So he was under pressure. Like, what if I can't, like, come on, Jesus. So we get there, and there isn't one. And he said, oh, man, I even said it and raised both hands. I said, well, you gotta work your way up. And then I said, look, there is one. There is one right there. I said, look at you. You spoke a parking space into existence. I was so proud. I was like, welcome to the supernatural, grasshopper. Because at first, when he said, I'm going to speak, I said, no, let's go for something like curing cancer. Let's do something easy. A parking space at La Fonda, you got to be a professional for that. And so he has entered the realm of the supernatural. So, and the thing is, I'm joking, but I'm not really joking. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of what I mean by supernatural lifestyle, is you speak it into existence, and then it happens. I've used this analogy a lot, but it was on my mind because they've just now posted the Coca-Cola Film Festival at the Fox. It comes out every summer, and it's like my favorite summer thing to do. They don't have a lot of movies in it this year. They are showing To Kill a Mockingbird, so that'll be good. But they're doing a Mary Poppins sing-along, the original Mary Poppins, and there's a scene in there where Dick Van Dyke plays Bert, and he's a street, he's a chimney sweep, but he's also a street artist. And there's a scene there where he's doing these chalk drawings on the sidewalk, and then they have a sequence, which now doesn't seem that impressive, but at the time, it was really impressive special effects where they had live action and animation together. But all of the characters jump into the picture. And there's something, sometimes you'll see something in a movie and you think, wow, that's really I know this is just a movie, but that's really a prophetic indication of the way visualization works. Kind of what you were doing with your suitcase up here. It's like it's a point of contact. And you see that all through the scripture. Hey, Harmony, good to see you. This is Stephen's daughter, Harmony, who's here. Glad that you're here. But all through the Old Testament, there are, especially in the Old Testament, there are these miracles that took place that I'm not going to split hairs with you about how literal they were or whatever. It's the point of the miracle. One of my favorites is remember when Jacob and Laban are going to divide up the sheep and goats because they're going to go their separate ways, and so Jacob, who was Joseph's father. Jacob. One thing I love about Jacob, he really had a handle on prophetic pictures. He's the one that made the coat of many colors for his son Joseph. That by the time Joseph lost the coat, he had already internalized it. So the colorful reality was manifested in his life. But what happened with Jacob and Laban, and this is not the way biology works, but Jacob says, well, give me all the spotted and speckled sheep and goats, and you take the plain ones. And so Laban agreed to do that. So Jacob, he goes into where the barn is, and he takes these rods, sticks, limbs, whatever, and he whittles spots and specks all over them, and he puts them in front of the cow. And so according to the story, when the cows have calves, all of them are spotted. Now, you could say, well, that biologically is impossible. That's not the point. The point of the story is what you look at long enough eventually becomes your reality. It's a great story about visualization. And if you get caught up in the literalness of it, you're missing the point. I have no problem believing that it actually happened. I'm not trying to disprove the Bible. I'm saying fundamentalists miss the point. Somebody had posted that watches online that they'd gone to the Noah's Ark exhibit they have somewhere. And I guess if I was in that part of the country, I might go look at it. It might be interesting to see. When people get caught up in the literalness of whether the ark happened or not, you miss the point. The point of the story is that one man can change the world. Because in the story, God comes to Noah and he says, I'm going to destroy the world, but you can save it. Without the Noah story, you don't have a Gandhi or a Rosa Parks or a Martin Luther King. It's the idea that one person can make a difference. If you start splitting hairs about whether there were 2 kangaroos and 2 zebras, missing the point. And the fundamentalists don't seem to get that because they want to argue with you about whether the earth is 6,000 years old or 1,000,000 years old. It's old. If you don't believe it's old, take a trip out to the Grand Canyon. And they tell you that it takes the Colorado River about 10,000 years to cut through about that much rock. And I don't know how deep it is. Somebody fell into it recently taking a picture, taking a selfie. I've been on the edge of it. There's one picture of us that we got somebody to take, and I'm sitting on the edge of it, and I'm like, take the picture. Please take the picture in a hurry. Because, I was breaking out in the sweat because it's like when you look down, remember those Roadrunner cartoons where the coyote would fall, and you hear like, poof, a little puff of smoke. That's how far down it is. So when you look at it and you think, this really took a long time. The earth has to be, 6,000 years, which if you take the Bible literally, you would believe the earth was created 6,000 years ago. Look at the Grand Canyon. 6,000 years is about from there to there. So it doesn't mean that God's not real, there's not intelligent design. It just means that Moses himself, who wrote that story, would be the first one to say, like, no, I was speaking poetically when I was talking about there was a being who said, let there be light, and I talked about it coming in layers, and all that. It was like entire denominations have split over the literalness of the thing, and like, wow, y'all don't even understand how Eastern people thought. They weren't when people want to argue with me about hell. I'm like, look, if you want to believe in literal hell it up. But let me tell you, I've been to Jerusalem, and when Jesus would point, when he talked about Gehenna and he'd point to it, it was right there. It's right outside. It was a garbage dump that burned all the time where they threw cadavers in. And that's why the worm didn't die, because it was maggot infested. When he talked about that, not one person in his audience would have ever thought he was talking about some place at eternal punishment. Yesterday I was looking at, we were watching, I have Xfinity, and so they got a lot of free movies on there, and I was looking at what's free, and there was one that Ken had wanted to see. I didn't necessarily want to see it, but I watched it, and actually it was cool special effects. It's called The Nun, and it's part of that horror group that did Insidious and all those. That guy's actually a really good filmmaker. And it's it takes place in Romania, and there was a guy that was in the occult, and they built he opened up a portal to hell, and that's why these nuns were possessed. It's not scary to me at all, because I'm like, that ain't real. But like demon stuff never scared me, because I've actually, a guy hiding in your closet with a knife, that's scary. But demon stuff, I'm like, that's just not. Believe me, religious people are way scarier than demon-possessed people. I've already survived religious fundamentalism. Give me demon-possessed people any day. They're just, if there is such a thing, they're just loud. They're not controlling like the religious people are. But Well, Jesus spoke to the religious community. He says, you are of your father, the devil. So he traced the paternity of religion back to Satan. So anyway, so there you have it. I know, it's good stuff, right? If you say, what was the best sermon that was ever preached? You can say, well, I was there for it. It was on Father's Day in the year 2019. Anyway, just some things I want to share with you. I don't know if I have another scripture up here or not. I don't remember. What's next? Oh, it's a meme. I like this. It says, sometimes all you can do is not think, not wonder, not imagine, not obsess. Just breathe and have faith because miracles do happen. I like that because I'm all about visualization. I'm all about speaking things into existence. I'm not even modifying that. I also know, however, that to everything there is a season, and there's sometimes you just have to take your hands off it and just be quiet. I think that's what I like about meditation more than anything else. Because to me, if somebody says, let's go on a prayer retreat, I'm like, where are we going with that? Because prayer has a lot of control issues to it. You know what I mean? When somebody says, I'm praying for you, I'm like, define your terms. What exactly are you praying? Because I may not want you to put your weird mojo on me. You know what I mean? Meditation says, let's just be quiet. And if Spirit in us needs to speak, then Spirit will speak. And if not, being quiet is enough. I love that we can go on these meditation weekends and nobody's, sometimes I'll say, what did you hear? We'll do that. But it's like nobody's saying, what's God saying to the church? I'm so bored with that. I would rather just say, no, I heard some things. There were some things some messages I received that I don't even know how to articulate it, but I know something changed in me and I'm better. And if nothing else, I'm very relaxed and peaceful. That's valid. Look, in this day and age, if you can relax for about 48 hours, that's kind of a miracle. If you could be quiet. Last night, a kid had gone to bed and I was still up. I was watching the end of Saturday Night Live and rerun, and outside my window, these people, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and their radio is so loud that it's shaking the windows in my house. I can't imagine how loud it must be in their car. I can tell I'm like officially an old man. 'Cause I'm like, these kids today, I'm with a shotgun. You get off my lawn. You know, I'm Mr. Wilson next door to Dennis a minute. So I'm like, good Lord. Not only is it 1 o'clock in the morning, but how loud must that be in your car? I'm 7 stories up, and I can feel it in my feelings, you know? And the thing is, I love the city, so I'm not leaving it. I'm willing to put up with that. But I'm saying the fact that you can find some serenity and some quiet, that's miraculous in itself. But I like this idea that it's not just, I don't think you can live this way all the time. I think if you're in neutral all the time, you just spin your wheels. I think sometimes you do have to make a declaration. You do have to speak to the mountain. You do have to just make a decision and like in Job where it says, decree a thing and it'll be established unto you. But there's other times where you just have to say, I'm not sure how this thing is going to play out, and I'm okay with it. It's like on this one, I don't need anybody to tell me even what I should feel about it, because I'm actually okay with however this scenario plays out. I got a big response what I posted about my dad earlier this week. And the reason I do that, I've gone ahead and said some things about it online. I wasn't going to, but I have now. But for one reason, people from Columbus, where he pastored for years, they'll call them a lot and ask Dad to write like reference letters and stuff like that. And I think y'all don't understand. Like he doesn't know who I am. He's not going to know who you are. And so I don't want people just to be so surprised by it. So I'm trying to strike that balance with, I don't rule out a miracle happening. I don't want to judge him so harshly, put some weird mojo out for my old age, but I'm constantly saying, I will live a long time and my mind will be, I'm doing everything I can to keep that without judging him. But I also, I don't even necessarily need agreement on this, but I said in the thing, if he lives to be 100 or more, I will take care of him and we'll deal with it. if he went to the other side today, I would be relieved, and I think he would be too. And some people, I think, are surprised to hear me say that, but I'm really okay with however that plays out. I'm not wishing he would leave. I'm not wishing he would stay. I'm like, well, this is your journey, and you took care of me at times where it probably wasn't that fun for you. So now it's my turn. Do I love it all the time? No. But it comes with the territory, and my Lord, time goes so fast. Honestly, one of the benefits of aging is looking at your life and realizing everything's moving so fast, there's really no point complaining about much of anything, because whatever you don't like, it's going to be over. You say, it's so hot today. You blink, and it'll be Christmas. So, back in the day, remember when summer used to last forever? Or it would be forever to your birthday. Remember when you were growing up and you'd say, it's 6 months to my birthday, or I'm 7.5, or I'm 8 3/4. Now it's like, dear God, it's my birthday again. How old am I this year? I'm 19, 50. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been filling out a form and age. I'm like, am I sick? I think it's because age is irrelevant to me. That's what I want to believe. It's just a number. But the point is, there's no point complaining about anything because everything is moving very fast. And I see that as a positive. I'm glad that I can see that because it makes me want to. I mean, several times this week, I get a continual stream of text from my mom, and she'll tell me things that's going on with him and things I got to help out with, and that just comes with the territory. It is what it is. But I literally I've had to say to myself, you're having dinner right now. This food is delicious. Just sit here and enjoy this, and don't cram this food down. I did it yesterday when we went to, we got a table that we wanted, and I thought, just sit here and enjoy this. We're not in a hurry. We're not on a deadline. I just want to sit here and enjoy this salmon burrito. And it was good. Lord. Have you ever eaten, when you become grateful, you're like, I'm pretty sure this is the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my life. I mean, the food's always been good here, but I swear I don't remember it ever being this good before. And look, it came with rice and beans. Let me tell you, oh my God. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I was like, the rice is yellow and the beans are black. Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful it looks together. This is so, I mean, really, so what's that got to do with the miraculous? It's because Einstein says 2 ways to live your life. One is as though everything is a miracle. One is as though nothing is a miracle. I don't know. I might drive by next week and LaFonda be closed. And I think, wow, so enjoy it while you have it. And the people that don't see that, if you'll notice, they're the ones who are ingrateful, miserable, sick most of the time, and think you're ridiculous because you look for the good stuff. Haven't you noticed? They're the ones always wanting to bring you back to reality. They want to be like, I think you're just a little too positive. You think you need to live in the real world. And you're like, I'm very familiar with the real world, idiot. You want me to tell you some real world stuff that would make you cry? I'm not denying that exists. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. I'm saying all the more reason to enjoy this freaking salmon burrito at LaFonda with the miraculous parking place that Ken spoke into existence. It's just like, this is awesome. And I want to feel that way, to think, having dinner right now with the person that I love, and I'm here, and the weather was moderate yesterday. It wasn't super hot. It was just nice. We could sit out there, and I'm just looking at the sky, and I'm like, yeah. Miracle, 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 miracle. It's all miracles. And if you're the type person that doesn't see that, I can't have dinner with you. Right. Right. Exactly. And the more you praise it, the more you notice it, the more you attract it. It's not rocket science. that's what I want to tell, and I'm even careful of the things I've posted about my dad lately, because I think be careful what you vent about, because when you vent about it, it feels good emotionally, but you're going to jack that thing up and take it to a higher level. You're infusing it with steroids. So I'm not telling you to deny stuff. It actually has felt cathartic to have some people say, I know what you're going through, or whatever, and I can feel it. Some of y'all are going through it. So it's actually strengthening without being negative. And on the heels of it, I also want to post, this is what's beautiful about today, and this is what's wonderful, and there's still so much to be happy about, and so much to smile about, and so much to be thankful for. And sometimes, if this is where you are, you don't have a plan. Now, everybody, I'm just going to tell you something. Everybody's kind of flying by the seat of their pants. I mean, I know it's great to have a 5-year plan and 10-year plan and blah blah blah. I know all that kind of stuff, and I've vision casted before. I've written vision. I'm not saying don't do that. There is a reality to that, and I could tell you 100 anecdotes to verify that. But there's also times where you just have to say, I am just in the moment, because there's a lot going on right now, and I don't know how it's going to play out. And honestly, it's like Paul said, I found whatever state I'm in to be content. It's not passivity. It's saying, I've been through enough stuff. He says, I know how to be abased. I know how to abound. I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me. There's some stuff going on. It is what it is. I can rise to the occasion. But I've learned that sometimes I just have to say, yeah, a miracle would be good right now. And so I'm just going to wait for one. And I'm not sure where it's going to happen. You have to let miracles happen. Do you understand? You can't make them happen. That's not, miracles are delicate. They're butterflies in the cocoon. Do you know what I mean? You can't, that's why even the conversations we've had about checks coming and stuff, it's like you can't, there's something about needing that check that makes it not come. You just have to say, the check will be there when it's there, however you think about your prosperity. God owns cattle on 1,000 hills, and so, there's more than enough for me. And then the money that you need will come. But you can't obsess over stuff. You can't make yourself be well. You have to let yourself be well. Do you know what I mean? You can't be mad at your body because you're not losing weight fast enough. You have to say, well, I've lost some, so that's cool. You know what I mean? Because all it does, when you get mad at your body, all it does makes you get stuck where you are. We've all been there. You're like, you're mad at the scales. Well, it's not the scales' fault. You know what you ate, and that's like, well, that sounds about right. That's about 48 hours ago I did have that pizza, so... And there it is. There's those 3 pounds. So there's no point. I mean, it just is what it is. So I'm just going to love my body as it is, and I'll get back on the good foot tomorrow or whatever. But that's one thing I love about the concept of laws of attraction is like just letting things come to you, because there's something about forcing things, and I think that's where we kind of missed it in faith sometimes, is we're like, we used to talk about getting hold of the horns of the altar and praying through, and there's some validity to that. I'm not totally throwing that away. I'm just saying there comes a time where you have to find a little more balance in your life. And what I've noticed is when you stop obsessing over your life, you stop obsessing over everybody else's life too. Haven't you ever noticed those people, those old school prayer warriors were highly opinionated about your life? You ever notice that? It's because they're just OCD about everything. The more you get into the flow, it's just a natural thing to live and let live. Somebody tells me they're an atheist, I'm like, okay. It's like it doesn't occur to me to, I'm going to prove God to you, because guess what? I can't prove God to you. And there's some things the atheists say that I'm like, well, touche, that's a valid point. Why is there if there's a God, why is there so much suffering in the world? interesting existential question that's been asked by theologians forever that I don't have an answer. Sometimes when you're so smug that you have an answer for everything, it actually makes people feel more irritated. Do you know? It's just better to say, well, some things are mysterious. I don't have the answers to everything. I can just tell you this is like, sometimes I'm just sitting on the beach waiting for a miracle. Maybe it'll come, maybe it won't. But I went to the beach. Did the blind see? No, but I went to the beach. And it was pretty awesome. Haven't you been before? Yep, and I'm going to go again. Patricia, your post cracked me up. If you don't know Patricia likes the beach, look at her social media. She said when the girls in the office ask, where are you? She goes, well, I ain't here. I'm on the beach somewhere. And I completely understand. It's like, yeah, that's where you can get in the zone for miracles. All right, let me show you a couple of quotes. I never can pronounce his name, the Vietnamese monk that actually passed very recently, but beautiful writer. He says, people usually consider walking on water or in thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk either on water or in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes. All is a miracle. I would dare say, how long have you had your Zen garden? It's been several years. Aren't you still amazed that a seed produces, like every time you see it, isn't that still like, this is crazy. You put this seed in the ground and this plant grows up. It's like you never, it's amazing. You should never get to the place that you're not just blown away by that. Like, how is that possible? And, you know, some of you remember when your babies were born. Remember you just sit there and look at them, and you look at their fingers and toes, and just, I can remember when my kids were born, just staring at them for the longest time. I'm like, we just made you. Like, we made, like in 9 months. You think about how long it takes to build a building. A human being has like a skeletal system, a muscular system, a respiratory system, a vascular system. All these things have to come together in a relatively short time, and then this person comes out. Like I was fortunate, I was in the room when all 4 of my kids were born. Actually, when both I was behind a curtain, but I was when both my granddaughters were born. I haven't talked to Christina about if I'm going to be in the room for this one, but I'm going to be a grandfather again in September, so we'll see. I don't want to don't break my, she don't want to be the only one. It's a she. But I was just amazed at it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like a person. That's a person. And it's a overwhelming thing when the hospital lets you go and you're like, we're taking this person home? We can't. Have you met us? We're like, we have no business. I remember the first time putting Jared and, taking him from the hospital and putting him in the car seat, and I thought, oh my God, we shouldn't have you alone. Like, we need supervision. Like, we don't know what to do with you. Of course, by the 4th one, like, you'll figure it out, There's some commercial that's on right now about between your first and 4th child. And the first child, she's interviewing the babysitter, and the babysitter says, you don't have a PhD in childhood education? She says, well, no, I have a master's. And she's like that's not enough. So by the 4th one, the babysitter comes, and she's like all tattooed with a nose ring in, and she's like walking out the door, shoving the baby, going, by the way, he likes to pull on jewelry, so you might want to lose the nose ring. Don't even learn the name. That's funny. But there's such a truth to this. Everything's a miracle. Like every year that I live, I'm so amazed at the seasonal changes. It's just amazing to me that these trees are full of green leaves now, and in just a few weeks, they'll be brown and red and gold, and then they'll be off, and it'll look like they're dead, and then just a few weeks after that, they'll be back. It actually becomes, you would think you'd be more blasé about it the more times you see it. It's actually, at least for me, it's the opposite. I'm finding that I'm more surprised by it. Like I take it for granted less and less. Like, oh my God, it worked. It happened. So when you see that, you do also attract those, what we would call more significant miracles. I like this quote by Molly Friedenfeld. It says, never allow fear to keep you from creating your own miracle. There are unlimited options at your disposal for creating any magical experience safely if you access the wisdom of your heart and make the choice to walk in the light. Now, I'm telling you, there's something to that. We're not making it up. When you want something, you say it, this is what you want, and it manifests, you should notice that. It's not bragging to say it happened. It's like, no, that's finding the balance of your $20 in the ATM a week later. Is that a fluke? No, that's a miracle. Let me tell you something. If you keep calling coincidences flukes, you're cutting yourself out of the miraculous. That's why it's not happening for you, because you don't believe it. You go back and look at nearly all those Disney movies, whether it's a fairy godmother, whatever, the whole thing was based on if the person believed. All of those songs, you listen to all those Disney songs, it was all about, this is, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, anything your heart's desires will come to you. You could say, well, yeah, I had a lot of dreams and they didn't come true. Think about all the ones that did. Think about all the ones that did. The things that you just casually said that did manifest. And sometimes you don't realize, like, wow, I really did get that, didn't I? And I don't even remember praying for that. And again, I'm not going to go through all these anecdotes I've told you over and over again, but I have noticed the last several years, the things that I have nearly said off the cuff, like, oh, I'd like to do that sometime, those have, for some reason, seemed to have manifested quicker than the ones that were like on a big bucket list. I don't know why it works that way. That's why I'm interested when these laws of attraction guys talk about detachment. I think that's an interesting thing. It's sort of like you put the intention out there and then you don't micromanage it. It's like, well, I'd like to do that, but, okay, there it goes. And desire is powerful, but even in Hebrews, it says, through faith and patience, we inherit the promises. And there's something about, I remember even Kenneth Hagin used to say, when you talk about believing God for things, he would say, if you're willing to wait forever, it won't take very long for it to manifest. And I thought, there's really, I don't know why, but there's something true about that. If you're just anxious, I need it now, I need it now, I need it now, this is why it's not happening for you now, because you keep needing it now. Well, Bishop, you don't realize how serious a situation I'm in. Baby, everybody's in a serious situation. I mean, seriously, I want you to believe for the best, but I've looked, they've had so many tornadoes this year, and I keep looking at these people who 24 hours earlier had no concept their house wouldn't be there, and they're standing out there looking where a house used to be, and they had no preparation for it at all. How could you prepare for that? Everybody's one disaster away from being homeless or being, what? That's just the truth. So you kind of don't really have a choice but to believe for the miraculous, right? Back in at the end of the 20s, when the stock market fell, people that had their entire fortunes based on that, There was nothing to show for it. And people, were jumping at committing suicide everywhere, and that's what brought in the Depression. So there's no way you can totally prepare for everything. You say, well, but I'm in a serious situation. Everybody's in a serious situation. That's why Jesus says the kingdom is, give us this day our daily bread. Even in my conversation with Jared earlier, he was saying, what's the latest with Granddad? Because he's been there and helped a lot. I said, it's just one day at a time. I mean, Francis cooked for us tonight, so I'm going to take food over there tonight. And I haven't thought past tonight. Well, we'll go. And is it going to be your last Father's Day with him? I don't know. Maybe. So we're going to go have, what are we having, honey baked ham? Come on, Jesus. I'm eating it. Yes. This vegetarian's going to eat some pig tonight. Yes, I am. I'm doing it for the sake. I'm not going to have a lot. I said it in front of my trainer. He heard me. What's that? Well, it must be a lot of food. Y'all come on over. The next thing I want to show you is this Charles DeLint. I like this quote. He says, I do believe in an everyday sort of magic, the inexplicable connectedness we sometimes experience with places, people, works of art, and the like. The eerie appropriateness of moments of synchronicity, the whispered voice, the hidden presence when we think we're alone. I don't know why. Twice a day, I just look at the clock exactly at 11:11. And sometimes I just post a picture. Earlier, Kian came up to sing. I went over, picked up my phone. I just picked it up, said 11:11. So I took a picture, posted it. Lisa, who's watching in Seattle, said, I'm watching it too. Of course, where she is, it's, hours earlier. I don't know what that means. It just is something synchronistic about it. And so I like to notice when things happen. I like to notice when I'm singing a song and I turn on the radio and that song is playing. I don't know what it means exactly, but I like to notice both serendipity and synchronicity. And the more you notice them, you start realizing there's more going on than meets the eye. I mean, how many times do you call somebody and somebody says, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. Why is that? It's because you're communicating on a subliminal level in ways that you don't even realize that you're communicating. I joke about it, but I don't. Both of y'all came in last week wearing orange. I don't wear orange a lot. I have very little orange in my wardrobe. And I remember specifically putting in an orange pocket square last week. Is that a miracle? It's not like apart the water miracles. It's like little synchronistic signposts from the universe that, I guess, there's flow to this. And it may not mean anything right now, but it'll mean something later. And I just want to notice it. I want to see it. I want to be aware that something, if you call that God, I have no problem with that. Something out there is trying to tell you something. This would be a great time to break into maybe God is trying to tell you something. Which that was, Alice Walker that wrote The Color Purple. I mean, she's a deist. I mean, she believes that nature is speaking. That was the reason it's called The Color Purple is when the two characters are walking through, and she says I think it pisses God off when you walk through the color purple and don't notice. She says, we do all this stuff, we holler and do all this stuff at church, we're just trying to be noticed and not realize that she calls God it, but it's calling out to us, it's speaking to us, whatever. And there's a truth to that. If for you that needs to be a patriarchal male from the Judeo-Christian Bible, that's fine. I came from that same system too. But I also know that it's bigger than that. So if something, I mean, come on, without just sounding like we're all on acid, when you've been on those beaches, didn't you feel like the ocean was talking to you? Didn't you feel like the moon was talking to you? Didn't you feel like the breeze was? I mean, I'm telling you, when you get quiet and say, what is the wind saying to you? It's not even the kind of thing that you can interpret to say, the wind said, la, 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 la. It doesn't work like that. It's like, I don't know what it said, but it was groanings that cannot be uttered. It's like something is speaking to me, and I'm not even going to try to overthink it. That's the thing you have with somebody when you meet them and you think, oh, we're connected on some level, and it's something deeper than I can even. Did we meet somewhere in eternity somewhere and decide to come? Maybe. Who knows? That has become so strong to me. If I make, it is Father's Day, if I make one more reference to my father, that I wrote in that meditation, I said there's some conversations I wanted to have with him on this side that I realized that window is past. I'm not going to have this conversation. And I'm actually at peace with that because I'm still going to find him somewhere in eternity. I mean, to me, it's not necessarily streets of gold and gates of pearl. I don't like that. That's actually too finite for me. But somewhere, that man that was manifested in this reality as my father, whose DNA I carry, we still have some unfinished business, and it's okay. We will find a place to have that conversation where there is no time or space. And that to me just gives me such peace, because there's so many things people didn't get right with parents before they left or whatever. It's okay. Some things some people aren't going to get past certain mindsets on this side, and there's no point in you being frustrated about it. There's some things your family members aren't going to see, and honestly, the more you try to convince them of it, it's only going to make them double down and defend their viewpoint because you're just their little sister or little brother. They're not going to listen to you. So just take what you can get, that they understand what they understand. That's why, here's one more thing, but that I posted, there's a picture that I posted, and it was my favorite thing from my childhood. It was called a ranger station. And my dad got it for me and put it together. I remember him putting it together all by himself. And it was at a time when he and I had a difficult relationship. But that you can't see it. It's right over there. It's like what swing sets were made out of, but it was supposed to be like what a forest ranger looks at, and it had like a ladder that you climbed up and a pole that you slid down, and you could squeeze about 10 kids in there. And so I had clubs. That's when I knew I was a pastor, because people would, they would just congregate in there, and the neighbor kid, they just came to where I was, and I would talk about God, and I just loved it. And what I love about that is he's such an alpha male, and just the way he's sitting and everything, I can't even look at it too long because my inner child is still a little bit terrified of him because he was no nonsense. But in that picture is that's what you did for me, and there were things you couldn't verbalize because it's just not in you're a man born at a certain time, and you had your own issues with your father. So I had plenty of male figures in my life make that up to me. So I'm not even mad at you for that. What I'm saying is, in the midst of all of that was that. And I want to remember those things. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. My dad, let me just tell you, my dad didn't like sissy boys growing up, okay? So imagine what it was like for him when I came out. That was a challenge. But I will give him this. 2 things, or 3 things. When I went to him and I said, look, I'm thinking about coming out publicly. I'd already come out with him privately. But I said, should I just say it to the church, or should I stream it? And he said, I remember him saying, if there's a parade going on about you, you need to be the drum major. So he said, you stream your story and let everybody hear what it is, and not add to it and make it into some scandal. You're just telling the truth. And so that's why, honestly, it was like having an angel on my shoulder with him saying, and they didn't come that night. That was too difficult for them. I actually relaxed more with them not there. But it was the fact that he said, yeah, put it out there. And then not long after that, Mom, because everybody, from Columbus was hand wringing, and it was like the end of the world. They were like it was Armageddon, and she was telling Dad. She asked Dad, "What do I tell people?" He said, "Tell him our son's gay," and he came out and, I was like, "Thank you." It's like just say the words. It's not as scary as you would think. And then finally, when his denomination told him he couldn't come to my church because they said, if you go to your son's church, you're promoting the gay lifestyle. And I thought, first of all, there's no such thing as the gay lifestyle. Secondly, have y'all met my dad? I really not that much of a gay activist, okay? And I remember telling him, I said, look, don't jeopardize your pension or your retirement or anything. Go to Tim Hogg's church or whatever. I completely understand. It's fine. And he instead went and turned in his credentials and came to church anyway. And I said, you know what? I would have never asked you to do that, but that just healed a whole lot of stuff that you're willing to do that. So, and there's been some other things we still have had to work through, and nobody's perfect. But I want to remember those things. And I'm glad that as I get older, I remember, sometimes I'll talk about being in college, and I've got friends of mine who go, oh, I don't ever even want to mention that place again. I think, I don't feel that way at all. I mean, I probably did at the time, but we went down there 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm like in tears walking around the campus, like, oh my God, it's more beautiful than I remember. I wouldn't want to go there now. I mean, you talk about being on a different page. Whew, Lord. But I want to remember, wow, that was a fun time in my life where I had a lot of friends, and it was great. So that's what I want to leave you with. And I think I have one more quote. Do I? Yeah, it's an Einstein quote. Einstein actually was a great theologian. He says, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. I like that. That's why sometimes you think, was that a God thing? I'm like, yes, it's a God thing. I would rather err on the side of thinking too much is supernaturally orchestrated than to think just everything's random. And then finally, this is just a meme, and it says, if you don't believe in miracles, perhaps it's because you have forgotten you are one. I don't remember the exact numbers for it, but when at conception, and y'all are big boys and girls in here. At conception, there are, if not billions, there's at least millions of sperm cells that are released. I'm sure it's millions. And if you've ever seen under a microscope, little sperm cells are like little alpha male personalities. Like they're all rushing, all these little sperm cells are rushing toward this one egg who's just sitting there like, what's up? She's just waiting. One of you lucky. And they literally fight it out. I'm not kidding. Like little sperm cells will get in a fight with one another. I'm not making this up. It's true. And out of all those millions, one of them will find some place to penetrate the exterior of that egg cell, which is ginormous compared to the sperm cell. And the fact that you were born at all is a miracle. You were already a miracle. You got here as a miracle. You already defied the odds. I mean, you were the result of millions of other cells losing out to the one that became you. So you already came in a winner. You have already defied logic that you could be here. And it's amazing. I mean, you think about there's really only a certain amount of time in a month that a woman can even conceive. So the fact that there's as much conception as there is quite extraordinary. So the fact that you made it here, it's just amazing. I mean, to me, life is my bucket list. I'm just glad I got to see it. It is. Just the fact that that I got here, that I was born. And, you know, I've told you the story. I was born backwards. I was born feet first. I was born breech without a C-section, just around the corner here at what is now Emory. It was Crawford Long then. Such an unusual birth that they brought in a group of medical students to observe my birth. So I was born to an audience doing things wrong. I mean, I came in with people saying, he's not doing it right. That's not the way we do it. We come in head first. I didn't come in feet first. I came in foot first. It was 1 foot. So they actually had to put me back in to find the other foot and then pull me out, which is why I'm an only child. So but the point is I was already miraculous. And the more you think of yourself that way, I'm telling you, you become a miracle magnet. I remember having a roommate in college one time who said, you just believe all the stuff you believe because everything good happens to you. I said, no, good stuff happens to me because I believe what I believe. If all that good stuff didn't happen to you, you wouldn't believe the way that you do. And I said, we could have this argument forever, like which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I believe what I believe. I mean, good things happen to me because I believe what I believe. And never could convince him otherwise. You can't convince people of miracles. Miracles are for you. I mean, Jesus did miracles in front of the Pharisees, and they said, oh, you're Beelzebub. I mean, so there's some people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. They're not going to see it. So stop fretting over that. Go live your miraculous life. But everything I get to see, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm glad I got to see that. I woke up this morning and thought, oh, I get to see another Father's Day. Yay. And then I've heard from 3 of my 4 kids in a text or whatever. I'm like, oh, yay, I had kids. They remembered it's Father's Day. I mean, seriously, I'm like, yay, you know. And I'm sure I'll hear from Jonah before the day's over. And like I'm sure this time next year I'll be that more amazed by it. Because remember when I talked to you about spiraling? You either spiral down or you spiral up. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely spiraling up. I want you to recognize that you are a miracle. Y'all get anything out of this today? But of course you did. Let's all stand. If you'll play this for the YouTube audience, and if you haven't given lately, this would be a lovely time for
Contributing to Metron is quick
to get
and
back
easy.
in the zone.
You can give anytime using any smartphone.
Anytime, you can do it right now.
Text the amount you would like to donate to
And then double that amount.
404-620-5044. You will then receive a notification that you successfully completed your donation. You may also visit bishonthennow.com and click the support tab to give there as well. When you contribute to Metron, you're also donating to the charity or organization of the month. Thank you for your investment
You're
into
making
Metron.
a check, make it to JESM, and Danny will receive that back there. If you have cash, just pay it forward. You might want to bless Kian, or you might want to take somebody out, or somebody that's been a father to you. Go bless them. I just loose miracles not only for you, but in you. I call them forth out of you. That all the miracles that you're pregnant with right now, I say that they all come to full term, that they are all birthed, they are all healthy. And if I can be a spiritual midwife for you in any way, I just say, just push a little more and the miracle is about to manifest. You're going to have a very synchronistic week, a very serendipitous week, and I anoint your eyes to be able to see it, that you'll notice how blessed you are and the miracles that you are living in every day. You wake up tomorrow saying, this is the day the Lord has enabled me to make. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Peace. Happy Father's Day.